All right, we're live, and I just want to talk about a few things today. This is America. This is where we are today, folks. And we've been talking about Marxism. We've been talking about all these type of things, but I'm just wondering, has anybody really, if you're familiar with Marxism, then you don't need to look it up. But if you're not, what is it saying about someone who claims that they're Marxist? I mean, you got to understand, as Christians, and there are a lot of Christians, more than Christians in name only. There are a lot of true believers and followers of Jesus Christ who have not really awakened to understand that this movement that is out there, this kneeling during the national anthem, all this stuff is just as anti-God as anything. Now, before you jump to a conclusion about racism or anything like that, God is a God of all races. Not every person in every race will worship God or choose to worship God, but heaven, it will be made of people from every tribe and every tongue around the world. So there's going to be people of every ethnicity who are followers of Jesus Christ who are in heaven. So you got to understand, to say something like all lives matter, and to say that, I'm all in for the advancement of anyone who has been mistreated. For example, Black people in America, there's a history, have been mistreated. There's all this, a lot of the things that are being said, they're true. But you got to realize the Black Lives Matter movement, it's not about that. It's not about that at all. It's about bringing homosexuality. I mean, don't take my word for it. Go and look at the Black Lives Matters webpage. Black Lives Matter has a webpage. You can go and look up where it talks about destruction of the nuclear family, where it talks about being queer affirming, where it talks about tearing down. It's about upheaval. It's about tearing down Judeo-Christian values. Now, it doesn't spell that out on the website, but just read what it does say, and then you have no choice but to realize that's what they're saying. And what we can know from countries that have become communist based on Marxist principles. In fact, I've been in at least one of those countries. Take Cuba, for example. And I know people will say, well, Cuba has churches. I've been in the Greek Orthodox Church in Havana, Cuba. I've been outside of the Roman Catholic Church there. But I have attended worship in true Christian churches in Cuba. And they were not part of the accepted system. In fact, they were on their own. They were under persecution. They were frequented by secret police. Christians had to be careful what they said and in front of whom they said things, because they were monitored and censored. And I've actually spoken in those churches in Cuba and found true followers of Jesus Christ there. But the state wanted nothing. The state of Cuba wanted nothing to do with God. You can't have communism, Marxist principles, and God. And the Black Lives Matter and Antifa, even though they are separate entities, they seem to be compatible with one another. They do not desire for us to have anything to do, with the worship of God, for the existence of churches, for the safe existence of Christians to practice their faith. And even though I am totally against false religions, cults and world religions, for example, Islam, Antifa has no place for Islam either. There is no place. Now, I think demonically inspired that they'll find compatibility just because the goal is to be against Christians. But this is a time, and I've been preaching about on a weekly basis, a time when we need to be stronger in the Lord than we've ever been. It's a time that we need to to realize it's dangerous. It's a dangerous time, but it's also an exciting time. I don't know if you can get excited about it, because I'm just going to tell you, I was blessed to be born in the greatest country on the face of the planet. I think there's been no better country as it's been for human rights, for religious freedom, even though it does have an embarrassing past of segregation. Those things have been made right. A lot of credit goes to the people who got in behind the movement, Dr. King's peaceful movement, to make lives better for Black people. And there's been advancements of that. I realize no excuse for illegal police behavior. The people who uphold the law cannot break the law. What happened to George Floyd was wrong, shouldn't have happened. What some other things that we've seen happen shouldn't happen. But that's just my segue into saying we cannot defund the police. I know it was a political group that put, let me make sure that I say Congresswoman AOC, Ms. Cortez, in her position in Congress. She has no business being there. She doesn't understand. She couldn't pass a basic civics class, in my opinion, unless it was graded according to the principles that are out now. She is a product of her time and a product of her environment. But defunding the police, that's not right. We can't allow people to go around killing each other. And now she's, an even bolder statement, defund the police means defund the police. I'm not sure where the logic is in that. You don't have to be a Republican. It won't help to be a Democrat. It doesn't matter about your political views. Defunding the police is absolutely stupid. We need police to have integrity. We need police to have training and follow that training. We need monitoring. We need checks and balances, just like we need in anything else. But we must have police, and those police must be supported, and they must be sanctioned. If police break the law, they need to be prosecuted for breaking the law. This is just insane. And to see the White House press secretary putting up the pictures of the children that have been killed out of all this insanity and stray bullets and whatever, it's ridiculous. But I want to say to Christians, it's a sign of the times, and you need to be prepared for that. I'm going to skip over that real quick and just talk about what I saw in the Barr hearing. Attorney General Barr was mistreated. There's no doubt about that. I'm not going to be able to add anything to that discussion, except I hope that if you know people who voted for Jerry Nadler, that voted for these other people who embarrassed our nation, because, we used to say on national TV, but with the web, anyone in the world with internet access can see anything going on in this country. And one of the most embarrassing things that our country has done, other than having a CHOP or a Chaz in Seattle that went on for weeks without being shut down, and rightly shut down, justifiably shut down by the police. That's pretty embarrassing. When mayors and governors don't do their job, that's embarrassing. But what's even more embarrassing is the whole I'm reclaiming my time nonsense of not letting Attorney General Barr testify at a hearing that he was called to. The man is a very important person in our government, and a very intelligent person. And I think it is an insult not only to him, but to Americans as a whole, Black Americans, white Americans, Asian Americans. It's an insult to all Americans to bring an important person in our government of a great intelligence and is doing a great job, and insult his intelligence and insult him by assuming he has nothing better to do than sit and be interrupted and berated with lies and misrepresentations of members of Congress. Now, the only thing that we can do about that is make sure those people don't get reelected. And I mean, it's just common sense. It's just common sense. That is wrong. I don't know why. I'm not any person who has influence or power, but I don't know why people with influence or power don't step up and speak out against that. I would love to see someone that the nation would listen to or respected. Not that I know that anyone is respected anymore in our nation, but someone would listen to that people would listen to say something about that. I mean, yeah, you've got Dan Bongino and you've got Chris Plant and Rush Limbaugh and others who will talk about this, but I mean, there needs to be somebody, and Donald Trump will even say something about it, but there's got to be somebody that could just flat out call these people accountable. I'm sure there's a subcommittee in Congress that could sanction them, censure them somehow. It's been a long time since I've looked at or recall anything about the processes of Congress, and quite frankly, I don't really care anymore. Because it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing what was done to Attorney General Barr. But anyway, I just want to thank you if you listened today, even if you didn't listen today. It's been therapeutic for me to say some of the things that I'm angry about. But more importantly, the message is the gospel of Christ is here. It's real. It's life-changing by the power of God. And that's what people need, and they need to hear it from us. They don't need to hear that we are angry or shouting at people or stooping to the level. But they do need to hear that true believers in Jesus Christ love people of all races, love people of all color. And I applaud the NBA and the MLB and the NFL players that are saying they kneel for Jesus Christ. Doesn't mean that they don't respect and love people that are black or white or whatever. But that's the approach we need to take. We need to take the approach of holding accountable law enforcement agencies that don't hold their own people accountable. Because law enforcement agencies need to hold their own people accountable. We need to hold law enforcement agencies accountable. And we need to trust and verify, like Reagan said, and we need to get back to running this great country because it means so much to so many people. But Major League Baseball, I'm done. As a pastor who used to take groups, charter buses of people to see the Atlanta Braves, Major League Baseball, you won't see me in a jersey. You won't see me buying a ticket or anything that else I would buy once I was inside the stadium. I'm done. NFL, I'm done. It's about to get to where we're going to be done with the NCAA. As much as I hate that, I just don't understand who's going to pay for it all. Have you thought about that? The people that are protesting, have you thought about who's going to pay for it? When you get socialism, who's going to pay for professional sports? There's not going to be any more big contracts. There's not going to be any more money. That's not how socialism works. I've been to a communist country, as I said, in Cuba. They have professional baseball players. They make the same thing as everyone else. I mean, now, baseball is a big thing there. They've got a national team, and they take their baseball very seriously. I've watched men stand in areas in the city squares, and talk about baseball for hours on end in Havana, Cuba. They love it, and that's the type of baseball we're going to go to. I mean, there's stadiums. No disrespect to them, but communist country, you don't have money to spend on stadiums. You don't have the free enterprise system, the capitalism that allows American businesses to to build things like Mercedes builds the Dome. And those places are great, but those places exist only in capitalism. They don't exist in socialism and Marxist communism and those things. You don't have those things. We like for capitalism to run, for business to create and run things, because they do it on a much grander scale and much better than the government's going to do it. That's what makes America great. But what's going on right now is what makes America fall. And that's what people want. Don't be deceived. Any of you that are buying into these Marxist activists, I don't know if they've thought it through and don't care. My bet is they haven't really thought it through, that once they take power or whatever that is, there's not going to be anything worth having power over. Infrastructure will go down. There won't be all of the amenities that we have in the major cities. They're just going to become worse. Places that look like Chop and Chaz. And you know, what were they doing? They were giving a list of demands. They wanted ice. And the amazing thing was they wanted ice delivered to them, but they had to even specify that they wanted the good ice, the soft ice. That's hilarious. You know, in a free enterprise system, you can go and get ice from Sonic, right? Everybody loves the pellet ice from Sonic. Without free enterprise, you don't get that. You know, you don't get things like a whole restaurant chain that will buy a proprietary ice machine or have one made just for their restaurant chain so they could have ice that everybody likes. You'll have common things because everybody will have the same everything. That's the way communism works. That's where we're headed. I mean, we need to be smart about this, people. We're going to lose America, the greatest country on earth, because of this demonic deception. And there's, don't believe me. Okay, that's fine. It's not going to hurt my feelings. But that's what we're under right now. And that's what even Jesus said would come. So, Christians, we need to pray for our nation. We need to pray for the people who don't know Christ. We need to be faithful stewards of the gospel of Jesus Christ. And we need to love our neighbor. No greater time than to love our neighbor. And no greater time to stand up for what's right. Just want to encourage you today. Very discouraging things I've talked about. No need to be discouraged. We got to take it one day at a time. But don't be fatalistic. Don't give up. Stay in it. Keep speaking the truth, but speak the truth in love. Keep sharing the gospel. Keep praying for people. Keep helping people. Keep showing love to your neighbor. Forgive people. It's time to draw closer to the Lord than you've ever been in your lifetime. I heard someone mention today is America's seen worse times than this, haven't they? And I heard that the response was, I don't think so. America's been through some hard times, but we came through those hard times moving forward. 2 world wars, the Korean conflict, the Vietnam conflict. America gave up many, many lives, and I'm grateful for every one of those lives and to every family who gave up lives in those conflicts for freedom. And right now, what we're allowing to happen to this country is a great disrespect and dishonor to them that fought so hard and sacrificed so much. Well, I'm out of time. Just want to say God bless America. God bless these United States. God bless our president and our leaders. Pray for those that are grieving, mourning, dealing with COVID, and do what you have to do to make America great again. God bless.